This shit on? Yo, 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 what's happening? Yo, Diz, what up, bro? What's going down? I always have a hard time making sure these microphones is turned on, man. I can't see the levels going, so I don't know if it's on or if it's working. Kathleen Thompson, what's going down? Yo, Diz, I'm locked in on the lasers, man. I am fully locked in, boy. G that, what's happening? Getting ready for my back to back. Levels good. Hell yeah. Getting ready for the big shows. That's right. We kind of getting prepped up for our summertime shows right now too. Doing a bunch of new products, bunch of new stuff. So should be cool, man. That's the plan so far, but we'll see how it works out. Trying to get a handle on a few different products that I seen while I was out in Hawaii, that they had popular there that I'm trying to incorporate over here. So still trying to work out the logistics and make sure that we could get them in on time and stuff. But working with some of these manufacturers has been kind of hard and a little difficult. Do you do gold foil? I don't do any foils uh, or metallics or anything like that. Um, I've seen the process, but I've never did it myself. Um, so I'm not like foil on t-shirts and stuff. I haven't did it. Mainly do like screen printed transfers, like because I don't have the customer base for it. That's the big reason why I haven't. I have did like metallic transfers from Supercolor, like they have like golds. It doesn't come out as shiny as foils, um, but yeah, I've only did those. Um, Doing a Pokemon show, 4,000 plus attending. Hell yeah, yo, the Pokemon stuff is crazy. I met that one dude from Secret League who does the enamel pins. I met him at Impressions, and he was going in on the Pokemon stuff. He was letting me know how it works, and those guys spend money. They spend money, man. I just don't know too much about that space. Um, but yeah, he said his enamel pin business is booming. He's all over. He travels all over the world for those things. Nah, not lasers from Hawaii. I'm lasers is a separate thing. I've been looking at them, dialing, basically getting set up for getting a laser, but mainly to do some leather goods, a little bit of acrylic stuff here and there, um, some wood, not too much, small stuff, nothing crazy. But these bags that I've been seeing a lot of people selling, buying, and using. Because here in Los Angeles, I don't know if New York's like this, but Los Angeles and Hawaii are the same right now when it comes to like bags for shopping. Like when you go to the store, when you go to the market, you go to Target, you go anywhere, they don't give you plastic bags no more. Plastic bags are banned here in Los Angeles and then also in Hawaii. So the reusable bag thing is crazy. Um, I went to this little marketplace. I forget what it was called. There was like a bunch of vendors and stuff like that. It was kind of Disney themed out there in Hawaii. But a bunch of these vendors were selling like reusable bags for shopping and stuff. And since plastic bags are banned, a lot of people were buying into those reusable bags, all different shapes and sizes and stuff. So I'm just looking at a bunch of different options to possibly bring to some of my shows. I just got to get the designs right and stuff like that. New York's supposed to be like that. Yeah, man. The plastic bag thing is crazy around here. No stores, no nothing. Um, so reusable bags is where it's at. Dumb cheap to make, um, and the markup could be pretty good. I just gotta, like I said, working with manufacturers and stuff, and trying to like really lock something in, making sure you could get it back in time. Some my shows start kicking off in the summertime. May, June, July, August is like prime time. So trying to get them ready for that is what I'm up against right now. Just came across. you? What exactly do you do? I help people start t-shirt businesses from home. If you didn't want to do it from home and you want to do it somewhere else, I help you do that too. But basically everything revolves around heat press. I have a retail store here in the South Bay of LA, where I sell the t-shirts that I make. And then the store is set up like this, where it's production in the back, retail in the front. So in the back of the house is where we do embroidery. We have 6 heat presses. um, we design everything in house. We do everything there, and then we sell everything. We embroider our own hats. We stitch everything up, and then we sell it in the front of the house. Um, which is technically the retail side of the business. I also do online and stuff like that, but mainly what this channel is about is helping people learn how to create t-shirts from home. Um, the channel probably started maybe 9, 10 years ago or something like that. Um, and through the years, it's kind of just evolved into, when I first got onto YouTube, heat presses were frowned upon. Now 10 years later, heat presses are celebrated, and there's so many different businesses that spawned from having a heat press. it, uh, it used to be a very, or it still is, low barrier of entry of just getting into a business from home, like a legitimate business. And I help people do that, like getting your wholesale license. A lot of people don't know how to do that, so I help people do that. Registering your business, I show people how to do it for very cheap, um, and register a legitimate business so you can get your reseller permit or your wholesale license. And I talk about vendors on where to buy blank t-shirts for cheap. And then I show people techniques that I picked up along the way. I've been doing t-shirts since the 90s. I started out screen printing, and then eventually went into heat pressing. And then I never looked back. I sold off all the screen print stuff, and then I only operate with the heat press now. Years later, I've had big screen print shops. I've had small ones. I've operated out of garages. I've operated out of my bedroom, all through screen printing. And then now I just kind of just help people um, get into this business and not spend a lot of money or waste a lot of money. And I try to help people make some money, if that makes sense. Do you help create and drop ship? I don't drop ship. And when it comes to creating, if you're talking about like creating designs and stuff, I don't design for people anymore. I used to do that. I used to offer that as a service, but not anymore. I just personally don't have the time for it to dedicate it to that kind of stuff. But drop shipping, I don't offer. I used to do a lot of fulfillment for other companies. Um, 2017, 16 to yeah, about 2017 till about 2021 is when I used to do a lot of fulfillment for people. I would run the back end of their stores for them, ship out all the orders, do a lot of the pressing of the shirts and stuff like that, which is easy money. I just don't have the time now that I have the retail store. I don't have the time to do that kind of stuff anymore. But yeah, that's what I help people do. You know what I mean? If you're looking into getting into that business, I have playlists already built out for people trying to get into the business to help them get going. And then I live stream every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, um, trying to help as many people as possible. That's basically how it works. Is if you got questions, I try to answer as much as possible. And if I don't got the right answer to it, I'll try to point you in the right direction. I don't know everything in this business. I'm just sharing the things that I picked up over the years. Like I said, being in this business since 96, 97. Um, yeah, just there's certain things that evolved technology wise, and then there's some things that are just tried and true. Like when it comes to selling stuff on social media, I talk a lot about that because that's how I make majority of my sales. I drive all the traffic to my retail store off of social media, and I drive all my online traffic to my online store off of social media, all for free. I don't pay for ads. I don't do any of that stuff. I don't boost a post. I don't spend money on advertising. I do it all for free, organically. And I feel like that's the best way to do it when you're starting out, so you don't have to like drop like a whole budget on your marketing and you don't even know what products you're selling yet, if that makes any sense. So I teach all that on my channel. Like I said, I got playlists built out. All you got to do is watch them and you'll pick the things up and you'll be like, yo, that's dope. If you're interested in that, you know what I mean? It's not the only way to do things, but it's just the way I found things to work for myself. And then across social media, it's just my name's Big Brando on everything. Instagram, I'm Big Brando TV, but TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, everything is under Big Brando. And there's tons of information out there that I share, but I'm not for everybody. I'll say that the stuff that I talk about sometimes people don't get, and like I said, there's not only one way to do this kind of stuff. The things that I talk about just happen to work for me, and I share what works for me and what doesn't work for me. So then that way people could kind of pick and choose what they want to do also. But the people that get it end up figuring it out for themselves, and then they end up killing shit. You know what I mean? Let me see. MM Customs, what's happening, man? You gonna go see Stephen Marley? Nah, I won't be there. I'll be at Kaloy Kai's concert coming up. I think that's the only one we got so far that we're actually locked in on. I just got a big shipment. Well, not, I don't want to say a big shipment, but I got a shipment of AS Color shirts. Um, I'm finally trying out the box shirt. So the box shirt, I got it in extra large and double X, so I could test it out to see which size works for myself. Right now, I'm wearing the heavy fade shirt. This is a heavy fade shirt from AS Color, and the only reason I'm wearing this one is these are Air Max 95s. This is the Nike SB version with the brown, but this brown, I mean this gray matches this gray that I'm wearing. So usually I buy t-shirts based on matching sneakers. I know a lot of people aren't into that right now or into that anymore, but for me, if I find a shirt that matches a certain pair of sneakers that I like the Air Max 95 is my favorite sneaker, um, I'm gonna buy the shirts and wear them. So that's why I like wearing this color. This is the AS Color Heavy Fade. The colorway is called Coal. To me, one of the coolest shirts. It's heavyweight, but it's still breathable, and the cotton's super soft. This is extra large. The shoulders don't drop that low, but there is still a little bit of space in the sleeves. It fits good, collar's good, and it washes well. This shirt's been washed like 25, 30 times or something like that. So I feel like after you wash it a few times, the shirt feels a little bit more worn in and broken in, if that makes sense. And then the color looks cool still. Let me see. Oh, J Bug and Delmar. No, I don't think I'm gonna be going out to Delmar for the J Bug show. Yeah, I don't think I had J Bug on my. I don't think we had that one scheduled up. Um, Outside of that, we're still trying to work on making these new products. Like I was telling Diz earlier, thinking about getting into the laser space. So trying to figure out things like a laser on and what to offer. Feel like there's decent money there. I got the we talked about this a few weeks ago, the Sawgrass Versaflex. Got the Sawgrass Versaflex printer in. Um, the SG500. I did a bunch of tests on that thing, and that thing prints crazy good. Like the amount, like the ink on T-shirt, like it's in the fibers feel, the feel that everybody's going for. Like it almost feels like a really properly screen printed t-shirt. Like, you know, when you get I don't know if you guys ever felt this or if you guys ever screen printed, but when you screen print onto a t-shirt, single color, multicolor, when you get a really good print and a really good pass, it just has this really good feel. That's what these feel like. No, it's not white toner, man. It's CMYE. So it's you can still do sublimation, but then you also can do, like, you could uh print and press onto 100% cotton. Has to be light colors though, because there's no white ink in there. But whites, tans, heather grays, pinks, any light color t-shirt you could print and press on, and that print feels amazing, man. I did a bunch of tests. Um, I got a video coming out probably next week or something like that, showing the process of that. The prints feel dope as hell. The printer I got is the 8.5 by 11 one, the SG500, perfect for what I need it for. But they also have the bigger printer where you could do like 11 by 17 or 12 by 18 or 19 by 13, whatever it is. Um, but yeah, like the ink on the t-shirt feels good. I'm currently going through like the wash cycles and stuff like that to see how it holds up. But so far that thing is dope as hell, man. But white toner's on the list too. White toner is hoping to get that in. And then after that, man, I probably won't need a vinyl cutter ever again. Like I'll be good to go because I'll have every option I could think of to like print custom shirts from a printer straight to the shirt in my shop. Won't need DTG, won't need DTF. I'll be good to go. Melly Mel, how do you lock in presets on Heat Press Nation Signature Series 16 by 20? Pre presets, I don't know if they could do presets on that one. I don't think mine does. Um, what I usually do is I write all the shit down. So like let's say I'm doing super color transfers. I'll just write down 320, 15 seconds, heavy pressure. I'll write that down, put it up next to my heat press. In my old videos when I used to press out of the garage, you'll see like all these pieces of paper on the wall behind my heat press. That's because I was using Transfer Express, FM Expressions. Um, I was still using Silver Mountain also. I was using B-Flex, um, heat transfer vinyl. I was using Thermoflex heat transfer vinyl. What else was I using back then? I was using Wild Style transfers. So I had all these different transfer companies that I was using. So what I'll do is every time you buy transfers, it usually comes with a little sticker that has like instructions on how to press those transfers on. I would stick them up behind my press. So I'm like, all right, I'm using Wild Style today. These are the settings I need to be on. When it came to pressure, I would use the marker technique. So if you're not familiar with that is, so lay a t-shirt down on your press. And then if you have a knob to crank your thing down, if you have the signature series, you crank that sucker all the way down till you can't crank it down anymore. And then you try to clamp it down. You're not going to be able to clamp it down. So you back it off a half turn and try again. If that doesn't clamp shut like a solid press, back it off a half turn and keep doing a half turn at a time until you get a solid press. Once you have that solid press, you take a marker, a Sharpie, and then there's the threads on the little screw thing. There's like the little post that has the little threads on there, like where you spin it up. You mark the bottom thread, the last thread you could see. You mark that with a, let's say, black marker. Mark it all the way around. Now you know heavy pressure for a t-shirt is to where that black mark is. Now put a hoodie down and then do the same test. Back it off a half turn every single time until you could press a hoodie, because a hoodie is a lot thicker than a t-shirt. So now once you get a solid press with that hoodie, you take a different color marker, let's say red, blue, something else, and then you mark that last thread that you can see. Now you have heavy pressure for your hoodie, heavy pressure for your t-shirt. You're good to go. Now you write down every setting that, like whatever you're using. If it's super color, Transfer Express, if it's 613 or 618 or whatever it's called, any of those, whatever you're using, you just mark it down, write it down so you know what you need to be. So that'll be like your, I guess, like a analog version of a preset. So then you just dial those settings in whenever you're pressing something that you're using. You have your heavy pressure for t-shirts, heavy pressure for your hoodies. Now you have all your settings for whatever transfers you're using, and you'll be good to go. Let me see. I still mess with Thermoflex. Hell yeah, man. Thermoflex, I used to get out of I used to buy it from McLogan out here in Los Angeles. I used to get, they used to have 5 yard rolls, 15-inch rolls, 5 yards for $30, I think it was. And I used to, yeah, I would do black and white and 10 yard rolls. Every other color, I do 5-yard rolls. That 516, what's happening? Altered image, what's happening? Kind of late, but I'm watching. Appreciate you for jumping on. Um, Brando, I was at Impressions and got into a conversation with the rep from AutoCap. Did you get a message from them on either Instagram or your YouTube page? Also set up with AS Color. I didn't get no messages from Auto. I did get an email from them that said that they're going to lower their prices by like 7%, which is cool, but it still keeps the hats at like six something, which is still kind of pricey. Um, but yeah, I didn't get any messages or anything like that from Auto. But AS Color, hell yeah, man. I was just talking about that. I'm wearing an AS Color heavy fade shirt. This is the coal colorway. It's kind of like the gray right before the black. Has that faded look. Like you kind of see the fade in the like stitching and stuff like that. Um, I love wearing this t-shirt, man. One, because it matches sneakers. Um, I showed a little bit earlier. I'm a big fan of Air Max 95s. And this is kind of that same gray. So like here's the old neon 95s. That gray, very similar to the gray that's in this t-shirt. And these are the old 2020 ones, not the new ones. And then here's some more 95s. These are the SB ones, but same exact thing. That gray, very close to the shirt. So I like wearing this Cole shirt because it matches sneakers that I like. Um, and it's comfortable as hell to wear. It's heavyweight, but it's still so soft that it doesn't feel like all scratchy and itchy and uncomfortable on the body. Still too high. Yeah, man. Auto's prices are high, man. No, the conversation we had, he told me less than $5. Less than $5 sounds good until I see it. But like I said, I just got the email a couple days ago, and when I checked the prices, my shit was still at like 675 or something like that. And that's just for standard acrylic 6-panel snapbacks, like the regular ones that I use. The the ones that have either the green or the gray underbill, standard straight colors, 6-panel structure, man. It's like it was six something. Less than five would be nice, but like I said, I'll believe it when I see it. I haven't seen it yet. You know what I mean? Roger that. What's happening? Got my churro shirt in last month, but finally got around to wearing it. And that shirt feels very nice. I like it. If you don't mind me asking, what shirt is that? That's the AS Color Classic t-shirt. Not 100% sure when you bought it. I appreciate you for picking up a churro shirt. But I started switching all the shirts over to AS Color Classic shirts. Early March, maybe, or maybe late February, early March, somewhere around that time. Depending on the size that you got, that's what it is. Please call the rep that sent you the email. Yeah, I don't need them to tell me it's $5 until I see it in my account that it's $5 or less than five. Then I'm gonna be like, all right. But to me, that's where it's a hard to get to see prices go back down is not. I don't think it's impossible. I just don't see it happening anytime soon. Especially with like that the new tariff law that just passed and stuff like that. I understand why they brought it down a little bit because though like the hats was like fetching $7, $8, something like that. Seeing 675 or whatever it is one thing, but then it's like I don't know how much more lower they can go um without like shooting themselves in the foot. You know what I mean? Um because they seen people spending when it was high. So I would imagine that they understand that since there is a demand for it, they're not gonna just drop it all the way back down to 350 or whatever what it used to be. Like if you guys remember when we was getting auto hats for like $3, I don't we ain't never gonna see that again. I got an extra large. Thank you. Hell yeah. If it was an extra large, chances are it was a AS Color Classic. Um, I started switching the shirts out, like I said, around February. I was selling out of all of the older stock that I had, whether it was um, Shockaware Active, the AS Color block shirts. I was using those for a little while. And then I just switched everything to AS Color Classic because that's a shirt that I like to wear. So I was like, yo, I might as well just offer these to the people because not a lot of people know what that t-shirt feels like. So I'm glad that you said like the shirt feels good and stuff like that because that's the shirt that I always rock and I talk about. So I'm glad you feel the same way I feel about that t-shirt. Tariffs, the war, gas is ridiculous, so that adds on to the price. Yeah, gas is crazy. Devoted Brand said I'm gonna have to buy a shirt now. Appreciate that, man. I appreciate that, bro. I got that package in though. I need to open it up. I'm gonna open it up on camera though. I'm gonna record it. Um, I'll probably get up in there. This weekend's Easter. I'll see. I'll get to it. But I appreciate you for sending that out, man. I'll open it up, catch it on camera. Nice new favorite shirt. I appreciate that, man. Shout out to the people picking up the churro stuff too, man. I did a soft rollout of that stuff. Brought it back. It did good for very low promotion on that thing. So it's kind of cool that people kind of took to it. The strategy I used behind that, I don't know if you guys know, but I got it right here. I promoted that thing with stickers. So I use these sticker packs as business cards. So when people be like, "Yo, man, where'd you get that T-shirt from?" I just throw them a sticker pack, and then a lot of the pictures I was taking to promote what I was selling and stuff were just these stickers. I'll take these to Disneyland, like I'm not sticking them up in Disneyland, but I'm taking the sticker and I'll like place it up on something, take a picture of it. So I kind of rolled out like this weird content promotion thing. It worked. It worked like crazy. And it was more of like I wanted to test something out. And I have a lot of these like designs, like I'll show you right here. These are all the stickers that come in this little pack. Well, this is what it looks like. I printed this with my Dymo label writer, like the thing that prints out my shipping labels. So I just ganged up like 4 or 5 of these on a 4x6 label, and then I just cut them out. So then that way I can make like cheap little uh labels for because I'm giving these away for free, you know what I mean? But this is one of the so obviously you guys, this is the main logo for the Churro Squad. This is Woody's hands in praying hand form holding a churro, easy call. But this is like a design that I did. It says best coffee in the park. This little coffee with the cereal on top, super popular in Disneyland. But I wasn't sure if this was going to be like a good design for a t-shirt. So I decided to make stickers of a lot of these designs. So then that way I could just like promote it and then see what hits. If a lot of people gravitate towards this design, like, yo, I like it, then I'll be like, yo, I could put it on t-shirts. So it's kind of a way of like testing out designs in sticker form, if that makes any sense. Um, but yeah, there's like I have all kind of like there's Buzz Lightyear's hand. I got churros in little eggs or little pods. This one's kind of cool. Friends don't let friends drink alone. So it's like all these like weird little concepts that I have for the churro business, but it's like geared towards like a lot of things around Disneyland without being Disneyland things, if that makes any sense. So then all I do is just bingo, get these things out. People say, "Hey, yo, that's a cool churro shirt." Like if I'm wearing it at the park, um, I'm like, "Yo, thanks," and then I shoot them a sticker pack. I'll just be like, "Yo, here you go," and then that to me is like the easiest way to promote within Disneyland without being too selly or overselling yourself. Because there's a lot of people that make Disneyland stuff, merch for Disney goers and stuff like that, and and they're kind of over the top, like, and it's good because like they're really into the shit. Like I'm not into it like that. I'm more into making the shirts to sell. Most of those people are into like the whole Disney stuff, you know what I mean? So it's easy for me to like crank out Disney designs. And yeah, like I could, man, around churros and around beer and food at Disneyland, I can make all kind of designs because it's like kind of it's like low hanging fruit, man. It's like I could put a bunch of stuff out and then test it out and then take it to Disneyland and then I get real life reactions, right? So when I'm wearing the shirts that I make, this is one of the big reasons why I wanted the white toner printer, was so I could do one-off t-shirts for myself to wear at the park for research purposes, mainly research purposes. So I could like print one out on a white toner printer, wear it to Disneyland, and then see if people like it, they don't like it. And over there, people aren't scared to ask you like, where'd you get that shirt from, or that's dope, or whatever. People give it up to you all the time if you're wearing something cool. So, for me, that's the research I need. I go out, wear the shit, and then it's like, yo, that's dope. And then I hand them a sticker pack, like, yo, you could get it here. Like, here's my information. It has the thing has everything. It has the Churro Squad. It has my Instagram. It has the Churro Squad Instagram. It has where you could buy it at bigbrando.com. That way people can just know where to go and where to get the stuff. You know what I mean? But that's like a easy way of doing things. And I take this whole strategy of what I'm doing at Disneyland, I did back in 2004, maybe 2005 in the lowrider scene. And it's the same exact concept of wearing something a long time ago. I don't even know if this is a term anymore. I haven't been in the lowrider scene in a long time, but long time ago, if you were on Crenshaw and you had a car and you couldn't hop your car, like it was barely getting up off the ground, it was called chipping. So I had made some shirts that said no chipping, and I would wear it on Crenshaw. And then people back then, it was like only a few photographers out there taking pictures of cars and had video cameras and stuff. So the plan was to get that shirt into all of that footage on Crenshaw. So I was everywhere trying to get that shirt into those spaces for the promotion of the shirt. And then um, what I would do is I would hand people stickers as business cards, you know what I mean? And it would say no chipping, or like the stickers were kind of dumb, but then I would just hand them out on Crenshaw to like everybody. And in my head at the time, it was like I wanted the sticker to end up on cars, but nobody was putting those stickers like that on the lowriders. In my head, that's what I wanted because I felt like it would get the most traction. But what it did was it just got me to using it as business cards. And then that's when I stopped using traditional business cards and use stickers. I use the clever ones. Like you guys see me use the dollar bill as a business card. All of those was I felt people would get better use, or they would think it's more creative to see that instead of a regular, 2x3 cardboard business card. So stickers, the dollar bills, stuff like that. So that's where this came from. I'm just recycling something I did back in 2005, doing it at Disneyland, totally different audience, and it's moving, it's working. You know what I mean? To me, it's you just got to try all these things out, and then that's it. Uh, New churro designs. Hell yeah, I got a gang of churro designs on this computer alone. I probably have 15, 16 churro designs locked and loaded, ready to go. I just haven't had time to do it because I've been traveling back and forth. But now that I'm going to be here for a little while before we start getting ready for the festival season, I'm going to crank out a bunch of them, take them down to Disneyland, shoot some pictures and video with them, and then still promote it the same exact way, man. Let me see. Yeah, they already raised it and people still bought. They're not going to lower it. Oh, you're talking about auto? Yeah. Where do you get your stickers? Cool place to get them is like you could look at people like G6 Customs, MM Customs. You make stickers. They might make stickers. Boulevard Stickers does them too. There's a lot of different places that make stickers. AS Color, after I said your name, handed me 4 t-shirts and a hoodie. Very nice, but I thought they were a little much pricey. Oh, hell yeah. AS Color is a premium blank with a premium price tag. I say it in every video. It is not, well, take that back. The block t shirt very competitively priced. I mean, it's cheaper than a lot of the other ones and they feel better. But when it comes to the classic, when it comes to the heavy fade, when it comes to box, and then when their hoodies like relax and stuff like that, same exact thing. Those things are fairly expensive, but you get what you pay for with them. That's what I like about them. You know what I mean? Pray to the churro guys. That's it, man. Found it from here. I'm from Hawaii. Hell yeah, man. I appreciate that, man. And now that you say that, we shipped a few churro packages out to Hawaii. So appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. I launched my apparel brand, Triple Rooted, rooted in resilience, faith, culture, a few months ago. People really support in person more versus online sales. Smart idea to remove Shopify account through the summer. That's totally up to you. If you feel like, to me, this is how I feel is almost every business should have an online presence and have an online store for the people that aren't, necessarily able to buy in person. Um, I like to have it, but if you don't feel you need it, or if you're like, I don't want to pay for it if I'm not really like making sales on it and stuff like that, then that's totally up to you. I wouldn't be in the position to tell you, yeah, do this or do that. Whatever you feel is best should be up to you. What did you pay to get a white toner printer from? I haven't got it yet. Like I haven't like this is all the shit that I'm like thinking about doing. This is what I'm looking at is the Uninets. I'm looking at the Uninets. I want the big one that prints the bigger sheets. I think like eight, not 8.5 by 11, 11 by 17. Most of my designs are around 12 by 16, if that, 11 by 16. So 11 by 17 white toner printer would be perfect for myself. And that's stretching. I rarely make anything that big. Like my West Side shirt that you guys see me, the four fingers up, two twisted in the middle, that one is 11.7 by 16 and a half. So basically, like 11 by 16. So I don't do really big prints all the time. So, but that's the one that I'm currently looking at. But I haven't pulled the trigger yet. But if you start seeing it on the channel, then you know it is what it is. Right now, I have the um, Sawgrass VersaFlex printer, the SG500, and that's the one that you could print on 100% cotton. That thing is dope. I was talking about it earlier, and it's so crazy how in the shirt the print feels. It doesn't have that DTF feel. It doesn't have like it has like a traditional, a well screen printed T-shirt feel. If that makes any sense. I'm currently going through like the wash cycles right now to see how it holds up in the wash and everything. But for white, tan, heather gray, 100% cotton T-shirts, that print is fucking amazing, man. But the plan is to get into the white toner space. The plan is to get into the laser space also. We'll see though. Uh could Disney have trademark churros? Probably. I don't know. The way I use it, nah. So anybody could trademark the stuff. You know what I mean? Anybody can. Iced out fan, what's happening? Shout out to Whittier, man. I've been watching your videos every day as I work to get my t-shirt business started, learning a lot. Hell yeah. Sam, ASAP Sam, I think that's your name. Get that money, man. There's a lot of useful information on my channel. What I would say is check out the playlist. Playlist will help you out. Um, Back to basics, starting from like back to basics will lay out the whole business for you, start to finish. Everything from like equipment, structuring your business, blank t-shirts, heat presses, transfers, marketing, graphic design. It goes through everything. And then starting from scratch, we'll show you how I started a brand from nothing to how I made sales and all that stuff, and eventually selling that brand off. Printing money is how I first originally launched the churro brand, the churro squad. When I very first did this back in like 2018, I think 2019, 2018. I talk about everything, how I marketed that thing, how I got the sales, how I was just And I only did it with one t-shirt design, and that was it. Everything is laid out for you in there. So all of those playlists are kind of tailored to getting started. So I would say check those out. Each triple rooted package comes with a logo sticker. Yeah, my brand message card and affirmation card. That's perfect things for the customer experience. I'm a firm believer in the customer's overall experience when they shop with you, right? I like this when I shop with certain companies. Like there's a store in New York called Extra Butter. I buy sneakers from them. When you buy something from them, they send you like a little card, like a little envelope card that stickers, your pack and slip, everything is like neatly placed in this little folder, and the folder feels like it's like textured. You could tell that they take their time with how they package things up, and that kind of stuff means a lot to me. Even though it's just stickers, even though it's just some real like not expensive free things, it's like part of the experience of shopping with them. It's like, all right, somebody packaged this thing up, put all this stuff in this little folder for you. So that way you're like, all right, cool. I bought something from them and they take care of the product. Undefeated does it all the time. Somebody that used to do a really good job at customer experience was um Johnny Cupcakes. When Johnny Cupcakes had his store here in LA, his whole thing looked like a bakery. It smelled like a bakery. He would package things up like a baker, and then if you bought something online, he would throw in all these extra treats like candy, baseball cards, just like all kind of like things he's into, and it just adds to just the whole experience of buying. So I do the same thing with mine. I throw in stickers, people get stuff. Sometimes I throw in free stuff, free shirts, free hats. If you're a returning customer, man, I'll throw in free shirts for returning customers on Shopify. It'll tell you like this person placed this many orders with you. I could see that when I'm packing up the order. I'm like, yo, this guy bought, my last 4 drops. I'm gonna throw in some free stuff or some unreleased stuff because in my retail store, I have shirts in there that I don't put online. So in the retail store, you have to come to the retail store to actually buy. Some returning customers, they get those shirts. Like they're getting shit that's not even online, and I'll throw it in there. Just like I said, for the customer experience. I think it's dope. Commerce Raise, I appreciate you for jumping on. Thank you. G6 Customs, what's happening? Whoever was asking about stickers, G6 Customs, they make stickers. Hit them up. By the way, the guy at AS Color wants to know when you're going to buy hoodies off of him. Wait, the guy at AS Color wants to know when you're going to buy hoodies off of him, like the stuff he prints, or just hoodies in general. I know that Pro Club Heavyweight has a lot of fakes. Can you let me know how close to a AS Color Classic or Block T it should feel? Might start off with them until I can go wholesale. Oh man, Pro Club and AS Color are two totally different t-shirts. Feel, cut, fit, everything about those two t-shirts are totally, totally different. There's nothing in comparison to either of those. Like I wouldn't be able to compare those shirts at all. Um, like a Pro Club heavyweight shirt is its own cut, own collar, own style of cotton that they use. Um, Whereas AS Color to me is a lot softer. Even their heavyweight stuff, even this heavyweight T-shirt, like I could wear this out in the sun all day long and not sweat it out. It's just the cotton they use, um, the way it's weaved, the type of cotton they use. I don't know any of the schematics behind how they make the shirts or what type of cotton they use and all that. I go based on feel, hand feel. This shirt, hand feel is amazing. Any AS Color t-shirt's gonna have the softest hand feel you've ever felt. And I'm not just saying that because I'm like, yo, like I'm trying to gas them up. 100%. I've touched thousands of t-shirts. Nothing has come close to AS Color. To me, nothing has come close to that feel. And when it comes to the AS Color fit, like the classic t-shirt, the closest thing I could compare that thing to is probably um I don't even know a t-shirt that fits like that. Cause it after you wash it, it maintains the body of it, like the structure of the shirt isn't compromised by washing and drying it. So, like, the same way you buy it is the same way it feels after it's been washed and fits, if that makes any sense. I don't even know if that made any sense. Um, but like the block t-shirt is very comparable to a all style 1701, just with a better cotton. But that same feel, the collar, I mean that same fit, the collar and the cut, very similar to the 1701 t-shirt. Very, very similar. I think it just has a way better hand feel than the old 1701. Um, but yeah, I wouldn't be able to compare any of the AS Color shirts to Pro Club shirts. Um, I can't think of any similarities whatsoever. Uh, Let me see. Got it. Just because you said you used them before AS. Oh, I see what you're saying. So I use Pro Club. I've used Shockaware. I used to be a firm believer in All Style, AAA. That was my t-shirt of choice. The 1301 for like regular stuff, and then the 1701 was like my premium t-shirt. And then I ended up switching over and just did nothing but 1701s because I liked the way that shirt fit. So that's why I compare the block t-shirt to the old all style 1701. Um, the Shockaware active shirt and the Pro Club comfort shirt are very comparable to the all style 1301. Kind of same fit and feel. They're all of them are basically like jersey cotton. The differences would be the collars. That was like my regular go-to shirt. So me transitioning to the AS Color Classic when I sell stuff at my store, night and day difference of those shirts. So I had to slowly roll it out. So then that way customers weren't like freaked out, like, yo, what the hell is this shirt? It's just kind of introducing the shirt slowly to customers so they understand what they're getting into, and to see if they're even into that style of t-shirt. But it was well received, right? Because it still has like that streetwear fit. It's just a way softer cotton. It's still heavyweight, um, but it's just softer for whatever reason. It's hard. You have to like get one. You have to feel it for yourself, and then you'd be like, "Oh shit, I get what he's saying." You know what I mean? Um, where's the ebook? Seals and foil. What's happening? Where's the ebook workshops for us? I haven't even finished it. I took the last trip I took. I worked on the ebook and typed up a few chapters on that thing. I just haven't finished it. As for the workshops, I had to put the workshops on hold because we're doing a few other things like I said, white toner and lasers and some other stuff. So we're getting like other things in the mix. So we're trying to figure all that out right now. I bought a few at Remtail, I think that's what it is, and they're premium. Reminds me of Sullen premium shirts. I remember Sullen's the tattoo company T-shirts, but I can't remember their T-shirts that they printed on. Few at retail, and they're premium. Reminds me of the Sullen premium shirts. Oh, there you go. Let me see. This color has wholesale pricing less than $8 per shirt, specifically the staple tee. Staple tee's dope. The um that's what I always recommend people, like the people that are into like fitness or starting fitness brands. That's always the go-to to like recommend. So if you're starting a fitness brand, I always tell people check out the staple tee only because it's a little bit more fitted, super soft, and like very, very lightweight. But yeah, back to the ebook thing, man. Like I have it pretty much penned up. The marketing stuff is that's what I was kind of like dragging my feet on. That's pretty much done now. Just a few like small things that I just got to touch on. Um, the marketing stuff always changes because how the market changes. It's like different strategies work. So I would hate to have outdated information in the book. So I want the most current information by the time I release it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, my last flight, I spent a few hours on there, kind of just typing away and penning through that thing, getting it going. I'll tell you right now, it's on my computer. and I want to say we're looking at like 70 pages already. So it's going to be a decent read, uh, but broken down by chapter and stuff like that. But I appreciate you for checking in on that. That should have been out last year, but we put it on hold. I have designs and blanks ready to go. Wait, I have designs and blanks ready to go. Should I just order the transfers before any orders or wait for the customer to order? Would the customer have to wait longer if I wait until? Yeah, so if you're going to do it that way, like the way I do it is I order the transfers and then I start, selling the shirts. The hard part with like ordering as people place the orders is the customer would have to wait a long time for their t-shirt. Most customers don't like waiting, man. Sometimes that can make or break the sale. um so what I would do, like, I don't know if you're using DTF or what you're doing, but I would just order like a few. Like, if you're doing DTF, I'd order like a small gang roll, throw some on there just to have, and then start promoting the shirts, getting them going. And then as orders come in, fulfill those orders, take the profit from there, replenish the blank t-shirts, and replenish the transfers as you go along. So then that way, like, you can kind of gauge that on what's the popular sizes, what's the popular designs, and then you're only re-upping on the popular stuff that's selling, if that makes sense. Because the customer never has to know like how much inventory you have or how many transfers you have on hand or anything like that. It's nice to think like, yo, once I launch my site, I'm gonna sell out quickly and sell 100 t-shirts. It's nice to think that, but when you got to be realistic with yourself and understand that, like, even if you had 6 blank t-shirts and 6 transfers only, your customers never have to know what you actually have on hand. So imagine somebody, you only have 6, right? And somebody buys a size large, boom, you could ship that one out. Then somebody buys like an extra large and you ship that one out. I would take the money from those 2 t-shirts that you just sold, buy 2 more larges and 2 more extra larges and 4 more transfers, and then just keep replenishing. The beauty of ordering DTF is there's no minimums on DTF, so you could just order gang rolls after gang rolls at your leisure, whatever makes sense to you. You know what I mean? But that's probably how I would build my inventory up, and then also play it a little conservatively so you're not like blowing the whole budget on this launch and then nothing sells. Like, you're going to order 100 transfers and you only sell like 3 t-shirts. You know what I mean? Now you wasted all your money on those 100 transfers. Play it slow. You know what I mean? Slow inventory and just control your shit, because you're going to be doing everything yourself, right? You're pressing the t-shirt yourself. So you just have 5 t-shirts, 6 t-shirts, and I'm talking like 1 or 2 of each size offering that you're offering, and that's it. Once those sell out, put it on sold out on your site so people know, oh damn, he's selling out of this size fast. So when he re-ups, I got to jump on it. You're creating your own scarcity, and you're not even really breaking the bank. Like, you're just playing it safe to make sure that you have, like, you don't want to, like I said, you don't want to spend the whole budget on this launch, because if this launch doesn't go your way, you spent all your money already. You don't want to do it that way. You want to be able to like really really play this thing out and piece everything together to gather the data of what's going on. When I say gather the data, I'm talking about what's the popular sizes, what's the popular colors, what's the popular designs, so then you know where to invest your money. Because right out the gate, it's a gamble. It's a gamble and it's a risk for all of us when we're doing it. You know what I mean? We're thinking we're going to sell this many, but we don't know how many we're going to sell, because we don't know. Like, that's just what it is. Until you fully understand what you're selling, like the churro stuff, for example. I know that churro design sells. I put it up and it sells like crazy. So when I started doing it, I was only ordering a few transfers here or there by the 50s or something like that. And then when I started selling, 30, 40 t-shirts a day, then I bumped it up, right? Then I'm like, all right, I could order 200 transfers now, or I could order, 250 every week, and I know I could sell those things. It's If I would have just out the gate said I'm gonna, you know, 250 transfers, and let's say only 10 people bought those t-shirts. Now I'm asked out. I wasted all that money on those transfers because I went all in on that. You really don't have to, though. You know what I mean? Just piece it together slowly. You'll be good. That way, less overhead, less stress. You'll understand how everything works because you're kind of just like getting your feet wet. But the customer never has to know that. The customer never sees your inventory. You're not going to be showing the customer your inventory saying, all right, all I got is 6 t-shirts, so hurry up and buy them. No, they're going to think you got damn near 24 of each size ready to go. They're not going to know what you have to offer. So as things sell out, it'll look good on your site that things are selling out. People are going to check it out and be like, yo, he's selling out in size larges. I got to make sure I get up on these larges when he replenishes or when he re-ups or when he drops something. I got to be first to the gate with it so I can make sure I get one. So create your own scarcity, build up your inventory slowly. Do not blow the whole budget. I will be getting the ebook. I learned a lot here before launching my brand. Hell yeah, I appreciate that for one. Um, a lot of people didn't know I was writing another ebook. That was something we are talking about last year when I first started live streaming. So I appreciate Seals and Foil for even bringing it up and reminding people that that's supposed to come out soon. With most shirts, they will hold their shape if they are seamed on the sides. Well, in my experience, old side seam t-shirts, not AS Color, other brands, if they don't put the weave of the cotton on the right way, so like let's say this side the cotton's going up and down, like the weave is going up and down, and then on the back side the weave's going sideways. When you wash that thing, that shit's gonna fucking it'll spin and get all weird. I used to deal with that, so that's what made me stop using side seam shirts a long time ago. Where tubular shirts were the only ones I was using because I could trust that the cotton's all going in the same way. AS Color, I never run into that issue, but those shirts do hold their shape. I will say that. Like this shirt's been washed like 30 some times, 20 some times. I've been wearing it probably for like the last 5 months weekly. Like I wear this. This is my regular shirt. Like I said, this thing matches Air Max 95s. That's weekly. I'm wearing Air Max 95. So that's why I always wear this t-shirt. But there's nothing wrong with it. Like it holds its shape. It's perfect, man. Let me see. Is there an Uber for embroidery jobs? Where can I go where people are actively looking for work? That I have no idea, man. You kind of have to create that for yourself. If you're looking for people that are looking for embroidery work, you kind of have to create that for yourself. Are your West Side shirts AS Color? They're transitioning to AS Color now. I have some that are already pre-printed for the store that are not on AS Color Classic shirts, and then everything that I will be uh printing as those sell out, I'll start printing onto AS Color to replenish that stuff. Like I said, it's going through that transition where I started it late February. We haven't even yeah, I think this is the end of March already. So we've been 1 month in this transition. So as things sell out, I'm re-upping with AS Color Classic. So eventually the whole store will be AS Color Classic is the plan. That's the plan. As of right now, it's not churro shirts, all AS Color Classic shirts. Um, what else? The all the South Bay stuff, mainly the store South Bay stuff, is AS Color Classic. West Side shirts, black and yellow are still mixed. There's some Shockaware active, um, some AS Color. The white ones, white with the Dodger blue, white with the black, are AS Color shirts. I think that's it. Have you tested those digital screen printed transfers? Which ones? Which digital screen printed transfers? Um, I'm asking because I want one, but I want it on the AS Color. Yeah, right now it's a toss up depending on your size and stuff like that. Um, like if you wear 2X, it might be on a AS Color Classic T-shirt. Um, in black, white, I think for sure if I still have any in stock. But black for sure, 2X. I know those are. But that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to transition all the shirts over to AS Color Classic is for this reason exactly. Was the original intent at the beginning of the year was to drop a sample pack for people that had different transfers in it. Um, I did sample packs back in 2020 where it was like when transfers were new for a lot of people. Was I offered a sample pack that had every transfer that I liked using at the time in this one sample with the T-shirt like 1701 that I liked, um, all in this like yeah, it was a sample pack. I think I sold them for like 30 bucks or something like that. But you got a T-shirt and you got, I think, transfer samples of actual designs, like my designs on them. I think it was like two, maybe five plus two vinyls. Like I had a regular heat transfer vinyl and then I had a puff vinyl in there. I had five different screen printed transfers in there from different companies. And then I had, oh, stickers from G6 Custom actually. TKO digital screen print transfers. No, I have not used TKO digital screen print transfers. Um, I use Supercolor a lot. Supercolor to me is probably the most durable, most consistent quality transfer on the market, but it also is pretty expensive. When it comes to DTF, I use the Supercolor DTF. The reason I've been using Supercolor's Super DTF is because they don't just print CMYK. CMYK is the standard um, print method or colors for DTF in general. Most DTF printers are just CMYK plus white, right? So it'll be cyan, magenta, yellow, black, and white. Supercolor offers more than just CMYK, so that's why their colors are way more vibrant, way more punchy, and they pop more, and they don't look muddy. Everything is just like smooth, and I don't know exactly what colors they're mixing on there. I know it's more than CMYK. It might be like green, orange, and fucking brown. I don't know. I don't know what the other colors are in that process that they use now for their DTF. But since I've been using it, shit is clean as hell, man. Outside of that, you could use people like the T-shirt Buddy is really dope. Merch Studio is dope. Crispy Prince is dope. AW Productions, Heart and Hustle. All of these people are content creators that offer DTF transfers that are really, really clean. But when it comes to like the screen printed stuff, um, Transfer Express is dope. Um, I used to use FM, not as much anymore. I still use them every now and then if I have a real need for it, but I haven't used them in a while. Um, I use who else is a good screen printed transfer? 613 Originals has a good screen printed transfer. Howard has a good screen printed transfer. Those are the ones that I've used. Supercolor. So to me, it's dope. Let me see. Thoughts on Ninja transfers. I've never used Ninja transfers. I hear good and bad things about them, but I've never had a need to use them. So I haven't used them for my own like personal stuff or for retail or anything like that. Um, but I would say like their marketing is pretty good because everybody sees their ads all the time. But I've never used them. Their booth is cool at Impressions. They have like a little ninja walking around, like a little uh, dude dressed in a ninja suit, which is cool. But yeah, I've never used their stuff. What do you think about X Tool DTF printer? I think it's cool, but I also think it's limited. Um, the reason I say it's limited is because I don't know if you've seen a lot of the ads that are shown or people that are using it. Is the film has like these little holes on the side. So that right there already tells me that that film is proprietary to that printer. So they're at liberty to like charge whatever they want for the film. I don't know how the inks work and consumables, but I feel like most DTF printers are all the same, where the print heads go down because of the white ink. Until somebody could create a white ink that doesn't clog a print head, is when I would feel safe with having people using DTF at home. If you're not dedicating your whole life to that DTF printer, I think it's a waste of money. Any DTF printer. If you wanted to print transfers from home, what I would recommend and what I'm actually looking to get into is white toner. The Uninet white toner printers, there's no maintenance involved. And if you're just doing low quantity runs, that thing will spit transfers out for you all day long. Um, and you get so much mileage out of those consumables and inks because it's toner and not ink. Um, that to me is like I weigh out the options. I had DTF printers in my shop. I had big DTF printers, small DTF printers. I had converted Epson printers to DTF printers in my shop, and all of those have the same issues. The print heads go out. The white toner clogs. I mean, the white ink clogs the print heads. Consumables on those things are a pain in the ass. Maintaining the machines are a pain in the ass. So that's why I'm like, yo, it's not worth it for anybody getting into it that just wants to print transfers from home, especially if you're looking for like a small desktop one, like the X tool size one. It's not that big, but you're limited to what you can do with that thing only because that printer has to be fully functional for you to make money with it. Whereas white toner, and this is why I'm leaning towards it. I used to be against white toners, but until I like really looked into it, I was like, yo, like white toner's the move. If you're just trying to print one or two transfers from home, like if you're being realistic with yourself on how many t-shirts you're selling, right? If you're doing like a big production run for like a family reunion, for a car club, for you're printing for another brand, then yeah, ordering DTF transfers or screen printed transfers from a company makes sense for large volume stuff. But if you're doing small volume, low volume, daily for your own stuff, if you ran an Etsy store and you just had, you're doing one or two t-shirts, you're selling one or two t-shirts a day, that white toner printer can shoot those things out easy call for you with no maintenance. That's like, and you could like, that printer also prints regular paper. Like you could use it for your regular desktop printer if you wanted to print out packing slips and stuff like that, like on just regular paper. Bingo, print that shit out right there. That printer is so versatile to me. I'm like, yo, this is the way to go if you wanted to print from home instead of investing into a DTF system to print from home that can possibly go out if you don't maintain it well. For any, just like anybody that's just getting into the space, nobody's that tech savvy to be like, all right, yeah, I'm gonna figure this DTF printer out. In my shop, the homie that works in my shop built DTG printers. Like is a mechanic or technician for DTG. So when it came to DTF, naturally he knew exactly what to do. And those printers still went out with having a professional in my shop running these things. So that's where I'm like, yo, it's not worth it for a lot of people to invest thousands of dollars into that system and then have to maintain that machine and baby that machine just to turn a profit is very hard to do unless that's your full-time gig and that's what you're doing and you have a commercial size printer. By all means, go for it. But if you're just doing small operation DTF printer, I do not think it's worth it for somebody to invest that money. You're going to just go on OfferUp right now and type in DTF printers and look how many are on there. Look how many people are selling theirs because the print heads go down. And majority of them will say, all you need is a print head or machine works, but minus the print head. There's a lot of people dumping them because the salesman didn't tell them what goes into those printers. You know what I mean? They're just trying to make the sale. They don't tell you that you got to maintain the machine. They don't tell you about the issues that white ink causes with them. So it's hard to do. With all that being said, that's why I'm looking for white toner now because I'm like, yo, let me get into a white toner printer. It's a ton of money to be made with that. You can do custom stuff all day long. You could test out your designs. You could print for other people. You could print for yourself. You can also do other cool stuff like cardstock on it. For myself, I want to do temporary tattoos. There's just so many different things about that printer. I'm like, all right, this makes sense for me. So yeah, like if I get into one and you start seeing it on the channel, it's because of all of these reasons, man. Like I just think it's a better investment for a home printer than going the DTF route. But that's just personally speaking, you know what I mean? You use DTF for your own brand or for clients? I use DTF sparingly. I use it for client work, for testing out stuff. Like let's say I want to test out like a multicolor design. I'll throw a gang roll together with a bunch of different designs that I want to test out. Get a gang roll made by Supercolor, and then I'll get them done. I'll use Supercolor wearable transfers for my retail stuff. So everything retail that's sold online or in my store, like my retail store, is all Supercolor wearable. Let me see. What would you charge for a $8 with one print on the front, one on the back? I'm looking to charge 30. Is that good using AS Color? This is what you got to like think in your head. How much the blank t-shirt is, how much the print's going to cost you, and how much labor are you putting into that shirt, right? So if you could lock down how much the blank t-shirt's going to cost, how much the transfer is going to cost front and back. The only other thing is your labor. Like what's your labor cost to you? How long does it take you to make that shirt? How long did it take you to design it? All of that stuff. That's going to be your pricing right there. Blank t-shirt costs, materials to make the shirt, your transfers, and then the labor that you put into making that shirt. I can't tell you if $30 is good or not, because what if that shit takes you fucking 3 hours to make? You know what I mean? Like, I can't tell you, like, yeah, that's what you should be charging. In your head, you got to know what your day rate is. Like, what's your hourly rate? The easiest way to break that down is what do you get paid at your day job right now? Right? What do they pay you an hour at your day job? Because if you weren't selling t-shirts, that's what you'd be doing to make money. So if you weren't making that shirt, you were at work, that's what you'd be getting paid. You know what I mean? So you don't want to sell yourself short, because if you do that, then you're kind of going backwards within business. You might as well not even be making shirts and you should just stick to your day job. You know what I mean? So you have to make it worth it for yourself. Also, what are your sacrifices? Are you sacrificing time away from your family? I don't know if you have a family, your wife, your kids. What are you like? What goes into it for yourself? So figure out what your hourly rate is and then break that down into the price of your t-shirt. If something takes you 30 minutes to do, you should be getting half of what your hourly rate is, right? So if it takes you 30 minutes to do, whatever your hourly rate is what you should be getting paid. So figure out what your hourly rate is. Everybody's hourly rate is going to be different. Your experience is different from the next person. Your sacrifices is different from the next person. Everything is going to be unique to you. So figure what that number is, and then that's what you charge your client. You'll answer all your own questions right then and there. Let me see. How do you come up with your designs or slogans? Do you get more sales from your apparel or work? I get majority of my sales from my apparel. I don't print too much for people anymore, only because I just don't have time. I have a retail store now, so I make majority of my money from my retail store. How do I come up with my designs? My designs are kind of just when I see stuff out in the streets, or I'm driving somewhere, or I'm walking somewhere, or I'm just out somewhere and I see something where I'm like, yo, this would be cool on a t-shirt, or I think I could sell something to this group of people. That's when I actually like put it in motion, design it, and then I test it out. When I say test it out, I make one t-shirt for myself with the design and I wear it out in public where I think that audience or that target audience would be walking about. That's where I would wear that shirt to. So, like, let's say I wanted to make a Pokemon shirt, right? Somebody was talking about Pokemon earlier. I think it was Diz. I'm gonna have to wear that Pokemon shirt around a bunch of Pokemon fans, right? I can't wear that shirt to the lowrider car show because chances are a bunch of the dudes that are into lowriders ain't into Pokemon, right? So I would have to wear the Pokemon shirt amongst a bunch of Pokemon enthusiasts or whatever. So I make one shirt for myself and I wear it around. And then I see if the people like it, if they relate to it, if they stop me and ask me, yo, where'd you get that shirt from? Or, yo, that's a cool shirt. Or, hey, can I take a picture of that shirt? Or, hey, my brother would really like that shirt. Those types of interactions are what I'm looking for. So I know that people would be interested in that design. When that design hits and I get that good reaction, I get transfers made, I put it out. I do this with every single t-shirt design that I do. Doesn't matter what it is. Hat designs, t-shirt designs goes through the same process. I make one for myself and I wear it around just to see what the reactions would be. Works like that for hats, t-shirts, and this is one of the big reasons why I want to get a white toner printer now. So I can do all of this testing with multicolor stuff that I want to, and I won't have to like order DTF transfers and get it done. I could think of an idea, bang it out right then and there within that same hour of me coming up with that idea. That's how my brain works. But the way I come up with designs is just when I think of things that might make money, I already know who I'm going to sell it to. That's what I'm thinking of first is who can use this shirt, who would buy this shirt, who would be a fan of this shirt. That's what I'm going for. That makes any sense. The X Tool printer is probably one of the worst hand feeling DTFs. There it is. I don't think I've ever felt the actual print. I was just going based off of consumables. Should someone invest in the Racoma DTF? If somebody was going to invest into any DTF, doesn't matter if it's Racoma or if it's any company, you have to know how you're going to make your money back on that thing. You know, you could have pipe dreams and be like, yo, I'm going to sell transfers to a million people, print transfers for myself. Be realistic with yourself. Who exactly are you going to sell to if you had that machine tomorrow? Who are you actually going to make money off of? I tell this to a lot of people, and it's like, they're like, oh, I'm going to get a DTF printer. And I'm like, all right, what are you going to do with it? Like, oh, I want to sell transfers to people. So the first thing I ask them is, how many people you know with a heat press? And usually they'd be like, oh, me and like my aunt got one. And then I'm like, well, that's your customers right there. Like out the gate with no social media, no nothing involved. Who would you be able to sell transfers to live in person? Like to tell somebody, yo, I got a DTF printer. It's going to be anybody you know with a heat press. If you don't know a lot of people with a heat press, you're not going to have a lot of customers right out the gate. And you got to remember that bill is coming every month if you invest in that system because these things like 20, 30 grand, right? And you're going to be paying this thing off monthly. That bill isn't going to stop coming if you're not making any sales. And that first month of you learning the machine, they're going to want their money after that first month. And if you haven't sold nothing yet, you're coming out of pocket for that. So if you want to dig yourself in a hole, by all means, go for it. But before you buy into that system, know how you're going to get yourself out of it. Don't put yourself in debt. Do not go broke trying to get rich at all. White toner printer, which one exactly did you like the most? I like the Uninet, the eye color. 650 is the one I was looking at. That's the one that prints 11 by 17. That's the one I'm probably going to get, but that's the one I've been looking at. And I think fits me the best. Um, but the Uninet iColor 650. Let me see. White toner didn't last for me. It would never pass the pull and stretch test. But to each their own, brother. Thanks for all you do. That's the one thing I don't understand about a lot of people is people like to stretch the t-shirts out and they like seeing them stretched. But like, when was the last time you were in a store and you just started stretching the t-shirts that they sell? I've never done that ever in my life. If I was going into a store to buy a t-shirt, you're not going to catch me walking into Undefeated or Supreme, picking up a shirt and stretching the screen print to see if it's going to last. Like I would never do that in my life. But for us as the people that are making the shirts and shit like that, in our head, we think every customer is going to do that. So I've never ever said, all right, I'm going to let me stretch these shirts to make sure the customer, when they stretch it, it's not going to do nothing crazy. In my experience, the customer just puts the shirt on to wear. You know what I mean? That's why I never understood the stretching thing. I think it's funny when I do it. I always laugh on camera, like when I'm stretching something, because I'm like, nobody in their right mind does this in the middle of a store ever when they're buying something. So I don't think customers are like, yo, let me stretch this thing out. Um, and a lot of times when you're doing one-off t-shirts, that one-off t-shirt is just to be worn once or twice, and that's about it. There were, when you're doing birthday shirts, if you're making a happy 40th birthday shirt, that person's only going to wear it on their 40th birthday. Like they're not wearing it 2 years from now, maybe to the gym, if that, or to wash the car. But when you're doing those one-off shirts, it's made to be worn once. I should have shopped around for different transfers though. There you go, man. Not only is Ninja Transfers all over social media, they are cutting us off at the knees and advertising on TV and telling people they can apply them with a house iron. That's crazy. I haven't seen that one, but I believe it. Which white toner printer? I'm thinking of the Uninet eye color 650. What do you think of the BN20D printer? I think that's the Roland printer. I think it's cool. I just don't know too much about it. I seen it at the if that's the white one, I've seen it at Impressions. I just don't know nothing about it. Can you explain the reason why you prefer the Supercolor wearable transfer over their DTF? Durability. Um, the Supercolor wearable is probably the most durable, consistent quality transfer on the market. I say that all the time because that's from 75 plus washes to no issues, to just the vibrancy in the colors, stain never being muted, stretching if you're into like stretching. That to me is why I choose to use that, because like when I'm selling stuff retail, I feel like the customer is going to keep that shirt for years. So I feel like I want the most durable print on there to outlast the actual t-shirt that it's printed on. So since 2020 is how long I've been using them. So what are we in 2026? For the last 6 years, all my retail shirts have been with the Supercolor wearable transfer, strictly off of durability. I have not once had a customer come back and say, "Yo, the print messed up," or nothing. It just outlives the t-shirt. You know what I mean? So that to me is where I run the same series of tests for any transfer I use. Press it on a t-shirt and I machine wash it, machine dry, chipping, peeling, cracking, falling off, fading, anything like that. I wash those t-shirts, like I said, 50, 60, 70 times with no issues whatsoever. And after 50 washes, you got to be like, yo, I got my money's worth off of this $30 t-shirt. You know what I mean? I got t-shirts from I showed it before, Stussy in Hawaii. I buy the Stussy Honolulu shirts all the time. Like I buy these things all the time. So I have them, and it's just like the shirt, the print cracks after like the first or second wash, and that t-shirt costs so much, but it's like it doesn't hold up, and I feel bummed out. So I would hate for a customer to feel that way about my prints. So I offer the Supercolor wearable print because I know what it's going to do in the wash. I know it's not going to fall off or crack or anything like that. So that's why I stick with it. Let me see. I started using them last year for stickers and prints, but now I don't use companies that undercut me. I have a lot of problems with people in my area with Crickets and Walmart presses. I see. Unionet had support for me, which was a game changer when I struggled. Hell yeah. White toner or Versaflex? I say both, man. But if you can't do both, it'd be totally up to you on which print method makes more sense for yourself, right? The Versaflex, I liked one being able to print just straight ink to t-shirt, easy call. But you're limited because there's no white ink in the Versaflex printer, right? It's only CMY, meaning there's no white ink in there. So if you don't have any white ink, you can't print on dark color garments. I sell a lot of dark color garments. I wear a lot of dark color garments. So that's why white toner makes sense for myself. But having the Sawgrass printer, for me, the intended use for it is for tote bags. Like tote bags, I don't know. Yeah, in Hawaii, you would know that there's no plastic bags over there, right? So tote bags are easy call for people going grocery shopping. If you're going to Foodland, having tote bags readily available that have dope sayings and cool stuff on them, and they're fairly cheap. You can find tote bags on Amazon. You get like 24 of them for like $20. Like it's dumb cheap to get tote bags, and they all come in that natural for those Versaflex printers. That's why I got the 8.5 by 11 one, because I'm not printing big on those tote bags. I'm printing very, very small. So 8.5 by 11 is an easy call. Um, Doing baby onesies is another thing with the Sawgrass Versaflex is it's in the material, right? It feels like it's printed into the material, so it washes well and it's perfect for baby onesies. Baby onesies usually come in white, light blue, light pink, light yellow. That's perfect for this Versaflex because you don't need white for those garments, like a white ink for those garments. So you could just print small prints for onesies all day long. And when you sell onesies, in my experience, you don't sell them to the baby. You're not even selling them to the parents. You're selling them to the uncles and aunts that are buying them. So you make designs for the uncles and aunts, like, yo, my aunt's the best, or my uncle's tattoos are better than yours. Like that kind of dumb shit sells so good with uncles and aunts that they're buying for, to put it on this little baby. And they wash well because you don't want that print to be all scratchy on a baby. You want it to be as soft as possible. So this is the reason I got the printer, was for those two things, was strictly for tote bags, strictly for baby onesies and toddler shirts also, but mainly baby onesies. I used to sell this shirt. It was a long, long time ago. It was a baby onesie when my son was first born, and my son's 12 now. When he was first born, I would make onesies that said like stuff like that, like my dad's tattoos are cooler than yours. I did another one that looked like Tupac's Thug Life, but it said Hug Life, and instead of the bullet, it was a bottle of milk. I did a Jesus piece on a onesie. I did all these kind of crazy prints, right, on onesies because they sell. So with that Sawgrass printer, that's easy money. Low hanging fruit, that's easy money to sell onesies like that all day long. And baby onesies are dumb cheap also. They're mostly white, like I said, white, pink, baby blue, yellow. You could think of all kind of crazy stuff to put on those things, and those printers are perfect for that type of stuff. But tote bags is the main reason why I got it, because the feel of it feels like it's in the material. It's an easy thing to do. But if you can't get both, you would have to figure out what you want to invest in that's going to make the most sense for you, right? If it's t-shirts and stuff like that, white toner all day long. White toner is probably going to be your best bet. If you're doing black t-shirts, especially, having a white toner printer is going to be an easy call for you. Like let's say you wanted to do like white toner, like I said, it replaces every printer in your house, right? Your regular desktop printer, all that stuff. You can still print your regular paper through that thing, but you can also print the transfers to press on t-shirts. And it's kind of like a easy, to me, I think it's like a easy way of making some decent money, especially if you had like a customized store, like an Etsy store, where you're making custom one-off shirts or just like low run stuff. You can bang it out and make some money. So I don't know what your intended use is, but for myself, it's mainly so I could just test out multicolored designs. I could get back to printing custom shirts for my clients, because I turn away a lot of that work because I don't do it anymore. Um, but now I could open that business back up to my clients if they wanted one-off shirts, you know, custom like Disney shirts for like a family of six, where it'll be like, you know, this is Jerry's eighth birthday at Disneyland, and you do some dumb little Disney design that makes a ton of money. You could sell that t-shirt 25, $30, and you figure you only spent like $3 on a blank and maybe $2 for the paper and the print. Easy call, right? So stuff like that. It would all depend on what you wanted to use the the printer for. Let me see. Try to scroll back up and read some of these questions. Let me see. Seen it all over social media, so I thought they may be a reputable company. Yeah, I see, man. I would say when it comes to marketing, Ninja got it locked down because they run the most ads out of everybody. Same with Xtool. Xtool runs a ton of ads. Um, but it also gets into the right faces, right? It's making it to the right people. BN20 is slow, great for small runs like 20 to 50 stickers once in a while, not good for high production. There you go. That's why I like this stream, because everything is the raw truth, no bull. Yeah, that's why I try to do this live every Tuesday. Just want to make my own shirts and sell them through my site in Etsy. Hell yeah. If you're just trying to do that, white toner is an easy call, man. Is your big design on the back of the shirt screen printed? If so, did it all fit in one of those small super color gang sheets? Nah, the big design on my shit is the biggest gang sheet that they offer, 11.7 by 6.5. That's the West Side shirt. That's that full gang sheet size. I always think the same way. Yeah. See, stretching is just a marketing scheme, but it got me. Yeah, it is, man. It is. But in reality, you don't do it in the store. You know what I mean? You don't go to a store and be like, "Yo, before I buy this, let me stretch this one out real quick, make sure the print's not cracking." It's not what we do. Let me see. I believe that stretch test started at the trade shows, manufacturers trying to show consumers how tough the prints are. Yeah, I get it, man. I get it. It's just not. It doesn't make sense unless you're a big dude and you're stretching your way through the shirt. I get that part, but at that point, you're not tugging on it like this, where it's not gonna mess up. Stussy back in the day was better quality. I think so. I think so. How do you feel about those new texture Teflon sheets people are using to supposedly make DTF feel like a plastic screen printed print feel? Um, I'll say this as a test, we tested one out with using sandpaper, like almost to the same grain as like skateboard grip tape. It didn't do nothing to the print. It was supposed to like soften it up, I guess. I don't know. It didn't do nothing. So I don't know anything about it. The other thing I don't know about is the sprays, stuff like that. I don't know anything about that. Some people say it works, some people say it don't work. I've never used it, so I can't say anything. The only thing I've tried was the sandpaper. Like I did put the sandpaper down, post press, and try to like smash the sandpaper into the print to soften it up. I guess that was the what they were saying it did, but it didn't do nothing. For me, it didn't do nothing. Let us know about the white toner. We have a connection over at Magic Touch. They sell them. I think Magic Touch is the spray that we're just talking about, right? Or am I wrong? Or am I right? Uh, the no plastic bag restriction is growing. Moving from Hawaii to LV, I almost forgot what store supplied plastic bags. Like, yeah, man. Here in LA, there's no plastic bags nowhere, man. Like we used to use those plastic bags for like our like bathroom trash can as a trash bag, but now we don't get them, man. I wonder how it's gonna be because I'm vending at a show in LA this year, and I use those plastic bags when I'm out vending. Is that gonna be banned or because I buy those things by like the case, like 1,000 bags is only like I think $12 at Sam's Club or something like that. So yeah, I don't know. Plain old Joe, I never spend my profits. I've managed to save $5,000. Hell yeah. I've good blank inventory for my next drop. Yup, third party outsourcing everything. Want to invest in either white toner or embroidery suggestions. Um, that's a good one. What do you sell the most of? If you're selling like mostly t-shirts, printed t-shirts, white toner is an easy call. If you've been selling a lot of hats, like let's say you've been outsourcing hats and you've been getting them embroidered and you've been selling them, then embroidery would be a good call. It's kind of like where you want, like where do you see the most profit coming in from? That's what you should invest in first. The reason I say that is because when you're growing, you kind of want to like feed the fire, like what's really like cooking for you right now, like what you're making a lot of money with. And then as you start to save up more, then you can start exploring other options. But like let's say t-shirts are booming it and you wanted to start printing your own shirts, stuff like that. So white toner would be a good move. Use the money from the white toner profits, start saving that up, and then you can start outsourcing embroidery to see if that business need is there for you. Do some hats, middleman them for a little while, work with a local embroidery shop, get your stuff going. And then as you start doing that, track how much you're spending on embroidery, how much you're selling, how much you're spending. And then a year from now, you'll be able to tell yourself like, yeah, I should invest in an embroidery machine because I'm paying this embroidery shop this much money to do my hats when I could be doing it all myself. That's all I did. When I got my embroidery machine, I invested into it, but not after I did a full year of tracking how much I was sending out, how much I was sending out embroidery for somebody else, how much I was sending out for embroidery for myself. I was just seeing how much I was spending on the labor cost of somebody else embroidering my stuff. And then that's what made me say, all right, I need to buy my own machine because I'm spending all this money. So I'm going to do the embroidery in house on my own. And then we ended up paying that embroidery machine off in less than 6 months. Like that's how much work we had. You know what I mean? And that's how much money I was spending on embroidery, sending it out. Instead, I was just doing it on my own. And like I said, that machine paid itself off in less than 6 months. So it really comes down to like what you're making money with now, how you're doing things now, how a white toner could benefit that, or how an embroidery machine could benefit that. And then, like I said, feed the fire while it's going, while it's hot, while you have something cooking right now, currently, feed that, make more money, and then you can always invest into other things after. What do you do with the shirts that are returned? Do you take the loss or resell it? If yes, how and where? I don't take returns at all. No returns, no exchanges, no refunds, none whatsoever. On my online store, my retail store, none whatsoever. Every single sale is final. Um, that's just something that I have always done. Um, I'm probably losing out on a lot of money. Maybe people don't want to shop with me because I don't offer returns or refunds or anything like that. But when you're running your own business and you're the one packaging the shit up and you're the one doing the quality control, you know what the customer is going to get. So you're looking at the shirt as you press it, as you fold it, what it looks like. Is it the right size? Is there holes in the sleeve? Is there a hole in the shirt? Is the print crooked? All of that. If there's something wrong with it, you don't ship it to the customer. You're only shipping the stuff that looks good to you. So that way you know what the customer is going to receive. So I've always felt like if I'm the one doing the quality control, I'm not going to offer returns, refunds, or exchanges. If it doesn't fit you, it doesn't fit you. But for myself, most men know what size t-shirt they wear, right? Most That's why I try to use generic fitting t-shirts. I don't use the trendy stuff. I don't use any of these other crazy t-shirts. I use generic fitting t-shirts. So if you know you're an extra large, you're going to be an extra large in my shirts. That's why I've always stuck with that. Like people all say, yo, how come you don't use, this is a weird one, but like long time ago, not long time ago, but maybe like 7 years ago, um, these t-shirts with like big scallops on the bottom. They're called like scoop. I forget the name of them, but it was like the bottoms of the shirts were round and they were long. And they were like, "Yo, how come you don't offer these, man? These things are popular." I'm like, "Fuck, I don't know my size in that. Like, I'm not gonna offer something where somebody doesn't know their size." So always offered generic fitting t-shirts that are going to fit the customer. If you're a double X, you know this double X is going to fit you. If you're an extra large, order extra large with me, it's going to fit you. That's how I always operated. So I never offer returns, refunds, or exchanges. All sales are always final with me. The baby onesie sounds like a great idea. The baby onesie is such an easy money maker, man. There used to be this person at the old Orange County swap meet. This used to be a big ass swap meet at the Orange County Fairgrounds. It's not there no more, or they don't do it no more. But there used to be this guy. He used to pull up in a trailer. He had a little like trailer attached to the back of his pickup truck. He had a generator, and he would press baby onesies, small little heat press, and he had all of these designs cut out on vinyl, not even transfers. They were all cut out on vinyl, and he had them all stored in these little drawers. He sold nothing but baby onesies. He only did white, black. Yeah, he only did white and black um, onesies, and then he only did white and black vinyl on either or. All these different sayings though, enough baby onesies to fill up a whole wall. They had all these weird, quirky sayings, and his booth used to boom all the time. He press on a generator, smashing them down, killing. And I was like, yo, this dude right here knows exactly what he's doing. He's in his lane. He knows who he's selling to. He comes up with these cool ideas and these cool things and kills. And I've always thought that was such a easy money making idea because I did the same thing and I know how easy it is to sell those things. Uh, you ever do shows in Las Vegas? No, I haven't did any shows in Las Vegas. I get invited to a lot of those, mainly like the Islander Hawaii shows and stuff like that out there. But I haven't did a Vegas one in a long ass time. Yeah, t-shirts and caps. If you're already outsourcing your embroidery now, start tracking that. See how much money you're spending on those hats, what the blank hat costs, and then what the labor cost is. And then track all that. And if it makes sense to you to buy an embroidery machine, buy an embroidery machine. But I will say, before you start tracking all that information, don't go out and buy one and just think money's going to roll in, because it doesn't work that way. Don't put yourself in debt. POD is way too expensive if you want to make money on t-shirts. To be honest, Ninja was being treated like a lost stepchild at Impressions, because HW, they are screwing us in the industry. I think that's what you're saying. Bundle tees and caps embroidered. Yeah. Quality control with third party embroidered caps aren't as reliable. It's really not. But that's why you have to check. If you always check your proof sample, you'll be good to go. I have to clean them up even if they're delivered to me. Damn, you got to start looking for another embroidery shop, man. Let me see. Are you taking custom embroidered hats? I'm not taking any work whatsoever. I have no time to print or embroider for anybody. That's how much business you get when you have an embroidery machine. I'll tell you that, is that shit flows in to the point where you gotta like push it off and say no to a lot of things, because it sucks, man. Like the when I first got it, I was like, "Yo, this is what I'm gonna do." There's a lot of embroidery shops in my where my shop is at, in that same plaza, like where I'm at. It's a big little area with a bunch of offices and warehouses and all kind of other units around me. There's screen print shops, embroidery shops in that thing. And then behind me on Delamo Boulevard, there's a ton of embroidery shops and screen print shops there. But they have the big machines, right? I have a single head. So what I started doing was my minimums were like 6. I was doing like low minimums. Anything over 24, I was turning away. Except for some clients I used to do a 100-piece order for. But I would usually keep my minimums super small, no more than 24. And then I filled that void of the big embroidery shops had minimums of 48. So what I was doing was I was taking the low hanging fruit and I was charging a premium on it, where it's like, yo, I could do 6, 12, 24 hats for you, but it's going to cost this much. So it's either you spend a lot of money and you get a bunch of hats done, or you spend a little less money, but you get a little bit of hats done. And that's where I lived for a while when I got that machine. And like I said, we paid the machine off fast as hell with that model. Was just taking the what the big shops didn't want to do. I was taking all that in, and we're doing hats like crazy, banging them shits out, 6 hats, dozen hats, and we're charging damn near 19, $24 a hat, and cleaning up like easy call. Like that machine is always on, and we've had it for 6 years now, 6, 7 years. It's crazy. Also, Impressions is in Atlantic City for 2027. 2028, they're moving it from anywhere from Cleveland to Florida. Damn. Yeah, the baby onesies, I do sublimation on them or screen printing. They do well for me. Hell yeah. Baby onesies, where it's at. Yes, I need to make a trip out to California. California's where it's at, bro. Uh, let me see. No plastic bags on the East Coast at all. You want a bag? They sell you on 50 cents. Yeah, we have a few of those, but they're not selling us uh they're selling us like a thicker plastic bag, I guess, but it's still they're trying to sell you something like, nah. But I noticed in Hawaii they don't even sell you that. They just give you a paper bag. I think I made a mistake buying a $14,000 Racoma Marquee 1501 first before getting the white toner. I'm not finding work. What do you suggest? The biggest thing I suggest is when it comes to embroidery, is showing your process on social media. Anytime I show myself embroidering hats or anything, I get random people hitting me up like, "Yo, how much to do, 12 hats?" Like somebody in here just asked, like, "Yo, you taking any embroidery work?" You kind of have to like whore yourself out for that service. Um, if you want that type of work in. If you're just doing it for yourself, like for your own, like your own embroidering your own hats and stuff like that, then you would just have to sell a ton of them. Getting into the custom space is an easy call, but trying to wrap your head around making money and paying that machine off is basically selling a service, not selling a product. You're selling a service. So for myself, what I did was you look around your area, wherever you live, and just Yelp search. Go on Yelp and look up embroidery shop on Yelp and see what's local to you. 10 miles away, 5 miles away, 15 miles away, whatever it is. And then just get quotes from them like, yo, how much does it cost to do these? Or what's your minimums or MOQs or whatever it is. Once you find out what their minimums are, then you just say, all right, nobody's doing from here to here. That's what I did. Nobody was doing 24 hats or less. So I said, all right, that's what I'm going to do. So I started offering that. Easy call, man. But it all comes down to like knowing, like before I got my machine, I was already outsourcing so much embroidery work like crazy for clients, for myself. I was outsourcing embroidery weekly, like, 2, 3 times out of the week, I'm sending jobs and hats to the embroidery shop. Like, yo, and the homie that was doing my stuff had a small shop, and then I had another homie who just had a machine in his garage. So between those two guys, I was sending them work weekly. Me, my partners in the shop, everybody, we're all sending work out. Then I thought about it, I was like, yo, I'm sending so much work out. Like, that's so much money being left on the table that we could be taking in. So since I had so much embroidery work already going to other shops, I said, yo, I'm just going to do it for myself. So before I invested in the machine, I made sure I had the business justification to buy the machine. You know what I mean? Because that's how, in my head, I'm like, yo, I don't want to get stuck with this payment and I don't have the work for it. So I want to make sure I have the work. So a whole year, I'm outsourcing embroidery. I'm losing money. I'm like not making much. I'm just making sure I have the workload for it. And then when we get the machine, bingo, now the workload comes to us. And now I'm like, all right, I have all these clients already built up. I have all these hats that I'm already doing for myself. So I'm selling my own retail hats and I'm stitching for other people. And I'm just kind of like leapfrogging over myself. I stitch up my own hats, put them up for sale. I do a client's run of hats, 24 hats, stitch up more of my own hats. And then I'm doing another client's hats, 12-piece run. And it just keeps going and going and going. So for you, if you're trying to pay off that machine, whore yourself out, meaning you got to like really sell that service and be like, yo, I could do these hats or I could do towels for you, or I could do polos for your company, making sure that you're always promoting that service to kind of get those clients in. That's how it works. But it's different than selling a product. It's selling your services. So you're not selling hats, you're selling your service of what you could do for the customer. What were you charging for hat embroidery? I feel like I'm charging too much because online companies are charging so little. Yeah, I was the same exact way. Like I said, I was charging fucking for, if I was gonna do like 12 or 24 hats, we're charging close to $25 a hat. Depending on what it was, like front hits, 25 bucks a hat. Um, the reason that worked for us is because all the companies around me wouldn't take in those low orders, like the low minimums. So I was able to charge a premium on top of that. What about stalls like Transfer Express? Transfer Express transfers are cool, man. Um, I used to use the hot split a lot. I don't even know if they offer that anymore. Goof Proof is cool too. That's kind of a tried and true one. But yeah, Transfer Express, there's nothing wrong with them. Looking for anybody who has any experience with X Tool apparel printer for DTF transfers. It's quite the expense, but other than YouTube videos, I don't know anybody personally who can tell the truth. That's it. Is there's not a lot of people that actually bought them to talk about them. A lot of people were are getting sponsored and stuff like that and getting to promote them. Um, so it's kind of hard to say, but I'll tell you this, any DTF printer is going to have the same problems until somebody comes up with a white ink that doesn't clog print heads. So any doesn't matter what printer you have, you're going to run into those issues. And you'll see people doing a lot of maintenance and cleanup, and it's very messy work because you're having to bleed the lines and clean the ink. I mean, clean the print heads. Then when they get clogged, it's bad. Now you have to change out the print head. It's an ordeal. Um, so you have to understand what you're getting yourself into when you get buy into any printer. It doesn't matter what printer it is, DTG or DTF, they use the same print technology. And for whatever reason, that white ink will always clog up a print head. Always. Sounds like the only practical option is white toner. It's not the only option, but you have to weigh out the options of what you want to like invest in, right? So if you're trying to invest into a DTF printer, think about what are you going to use the DTF printer for? Is it to print for yourself, like print your own transfers so you can press them on t-shirts and sell the t-shirts? Or are you printing transfers for other people? Is that how are you going to make the money back to pay off whatever you're doing? So if you're looking into DTF, thinking about that. Are you printing transfers for other people or are you printing transfers for yourself? What size of printer? If you're looking for the X tool printer, that X tool printer means that you're just going to be printing for yourself because that's not a printer that's going to be printing mass volume like gang rolls for somebody else. You know what I mean? So if you're looking for something to print for yourself, look at the price points on what those at home DTF printers look like. The whole setup, right? X2 has a dope ass setup where it's like all integrated into one thing. It like prints, shakes, and then dries it and then it shoots it out the bottom, right? The maintenance and stuff that comes with DTF is what you have to look into. That's what a lot of people don't talk about. The guys that have the big printers, they talk about it all the time because you could see them maintaining their machines. Just because it's a big machine doesn't mean the small machines don't get that. The small machines are even worse to maintain. So you have to think like, all right, do I want to be a technician for this printer or do I just want to be able to print stuff? If you're printing for yourself, I feel white toner would be a better bet because you're only printing for yourself with less maintenance. It's made for home use. When it comes to DTF, if you're buying a big commercial size joint, like if like the big ones that print 24-inch wide, have the big shaker, you have to exhaust that thing out. If you're getting that set up, that means you're printing for other people. You're printing gang rolls for production. That's a commercial size printer. Comes with a commercial size price tag also, but it still requires that same maintenance. That same maintenance is the same exact thing that's going to ruin everything else for you is you being a slave to that printer. I've owned DTF printers, big commercial size ones, small little tabletop size ones. They all have the same issue. The print heads get clogged and it jacks everything up. Your printer's down, you're not making money. So you have to think for yourself like, all right, does it make sense for me to buy into that? Once you get past the glitz and glamour of, oh, it's cool to have this printer at the house, the maintenance part of that, replacing print heads, buying the print heads for $2,000, $1,500, $2,000 when that print head's really only 70 bucks. But these companies are overcharging for the print head. So now every time a print head goes down, you have to spend $2,000 on it. Is that something you want to get into? Or would you take the other route of a white toner printer, which is low maintenance? You're not going to be doing high production. You're just doing 1 to a dozen. You know what I mean? You're not doing nothing crazy and you're just printing for yourself. Easy call. Then you understand how that shit works, like what makes sense to you or what you want to invest your money in. You know what I mean? But it's not the only option. Like white toner is not the only option. DTF's not the only option. You don't have to buy any printer. You could just order the transfers from people that already own the printers. You know what I mean? So it's like, what do you really want a printer at home for? Is it to just print for yourself because you don't want to buy transfers? Or maybe you're not selling that many or you're not moving that many units to put in a big gang roll order, or it's too expensive just to order, 1 to 5 transfers. So you want something to print at home. I would go white toner all day long. Like that to me, like all the research I've been doing lately points me in that direction because I know what the DTF side of things looks like. I know what DTG looks like. I know what DTF looks like. I've owned both. I understand that whole system, but that system sucks because of the maintenance involved in it. So that's why I got rid of those printers because it didn't make sense for myself. It made a ton of sense for me in my head, like, yo, I want to be selling transfers. I have a YouTube channel geared around transfers. I could sell transfers to the people that watch my videos. Money making idea. But I'm not making no money if that printer's down all the time. If the like I said, that white ink clogs the print head, your whole operation is shut down. You're not selling no transfers. So if that machine's not running, you ain't making no money. And I was spending way more time babying that machine and changing out print heads and cleaning it and maintaining it than I was actually making t-shirts and making money. So I said, yo, get rid of this shit. I ain't doing it. So for me, that's why I was like, yo, it's not for myself. White toner makes more sense for me, for my needs of what I need to do. You know what I mean? So you really have to think about what the business justification is for yourself if you're looking into getting into that kind of shit. It ain't for everybody, but at the same exact time, it's not the only option. Yeah, I got sick. I left my DTF printer for 2 weeks, and now it's a dusty paperweight. There it is. So whoever user is basically saying the same thing I was saying, man. That shit, if you're not running that thing every day, that shit sucks. White toner would be as you suggested for demo, and it can generate customer interest. I would go super coat. Yeah, that's look, that's my plan. I'm doing white. This is when I get my white toner printer, that's what I'm using it for. White toner just to print for myself, test out stuff, taking some customer work. Yo, I need a t-shirt for this, or I need a t-shirt for my bachelorette party. There's going to be 6 of us. Can you make us shirts that say blah, blah, blah? Bingo. That's an easy call. White toner could spit that out all day long, make a good profit doing that. If I owned an Etsy store and I did custom shirts one off, or if even if I just wanted to like throw up designs and see if they would sell on the Etsy store, white toner, I could spit them out. I'm not printing nothing until the sale comes in. So until a sale comes in is when I'll print the transfer, press it up, ship it out. You don't waste nothing. You're not wasting ink. You're not wasting transfer paper. You're not wasting t-shirts. You're only printing what sells. That's where I see that thing working. And then anything retail, anything mass production, anything I need to do that's like high volume, I just order transfers. You know what I mean? I'm not going to choke up my white toner printer for, 100 prints. I just order 100 transfers. Like that job's going to pay for itself because the client's going to pay for those prints. So easy call. To me, it's just something easy to add to the arsenal of whatever I'm doing already that's going to give me a little bit more flexibility to do a little bit more of. Meaning, now that I have a white toner printer, I no longer need my vinyl cutter because I could do custom shirts, I could do testing, I could do everything with the white toner, and I really don't need the vinyl cutter no more. So I'm kind of eliminating the vinyl cutter to get the white toner printer, if that makes sense. Our plastisol transfer is good for black on black. I think it's perfect for black on black, especially if you're doing spot color black, like not CMYK black, but like spot color black. Like you're not going to mix a bunch of colors to get black. You're just going to use black ink. Perfect for that. Also, most 24-inch DTF printers are 22 volt. I mean, 220 volt. So you also have to think like your regular 110 volt in your house won't be able to power some of those big DTF printers. When you were doing shirts for people, did you already have a blank you would always use for those jobs, or did you let them choose? Hell no, I never let them choose anything. Now the reason is because I work with certain blank companies, right? Like I have accounts set up with AS Color, so I would offer AS Color right out the gate. Be like, yo, these are the blanks that I use. Here's the block T-shirt. Here's the classic T-shirt. Here's the heavy fade if you wanted something like that. But usually it was between the two. And this is goes back to when I used to use All Style, when I used to use Shockaware, when I used to use Pro Club. This is how I worked at it. I've only used those companies that I chose to use because I have access to those blank t-shirts. So if I mess up on a shirt, I know I could go and replenish that shirt. If you let the customer choose and say the customer's like, yo, I'm gonna bring my blank shirts in, I'll need you to print on them. And what if it's like some Carhartt shirt that you can't get anywhere else and you mess up, like you're printing for them and you mess the print's crooked, it's backwards, shit happens to everybody and you can't replace it. Now you have to eat the cost of what that blank shirt cost that person. You jack the whole job up. So that's why I only use certain t-shirts when it comes to me printing for other people. And if they don't like it, then they don't like it. But for me, I always tell them like, yo, this is one of the best blank t-shirts. I give them the options. If you want something that feels like this, I got a blank t-shirt for that. If you want something that feels like this, I got something for that. And if they throw something at me like, I want to use the Bella Canvas, blah, 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 or the next level, blah, blah, blah. Like, yo, I don't have that t-shirt, but I could get this one that feels a little bit better, but very similar. Here's the AS Color Staple, or here's the AS Color Basic, or whatever it is. That's how I usually tell, like if they come to me and say, yo, I want a t-shirt like this, and I'll find one that I use that's similar, and usually they're cool with it. But I don't let them pick. Even when it's running good, you have to be right next to it. You gotta baby that thing, man. You are a slave to that machine. Let me see. Bad Habit says I run one 4 days a week, and that's exactly it, man. You know exactly what we're talking about, man. Thank you for chiming in on that. Just so you know, man, I've watched a ton of videos on this business, and your knowledge is priceless. Thank you for sharing your wealth of experience. If someone took it to heart, it's money in the bank. Yo, that's one of the big reasons why I do this. Um, One, for people like yourself, for people like myself. Two is I do it for the people that talk like me and look like me that don't learn through like books and other methods, right? Sometimes people are just audio learners, man. They could hear somebody talking and they're like, yo, that makes sense to me. That's how I am. I can't read a book and comprehend everything. I learn based off of observation or somebody telling me something like, yo, I could pick that shit up. That's the only reason I do this is I want to share the information with the people, but really catering to the people that are like myself. You know what I mean? So I appreciate that. I appreciate the kind words, and I really appreciate people for even watching this live stream, man. Like I do this every Tuesday, and for the last 3 or 4 Tuesdays, I think we've been doing 2 hour long live streams. Like this one went over 2 hours, so I appreciate that for you guys to even watch and ask the questions and just be down with whatever I'm talking about. There is nothing in the background that says I know what I'm talking about when it comes to t-shirts. It's a window back here. It'd be different if I had the heat presses in the back and the embroidering machine, and then somebody could jump on this live stream and be like, yo, this dude looks like he's in the shop. I'm in my room, I got the window closed, and I'm just talking. And for you guys to really pay attention to what I'm talking about and take it to heart and use the information that I'm giving you guys, man. I think that's dope as hell. Because when I was coming up, I wish somebody was down enough to like, lay the game out for me. I had to find out the hard way on what worked, what didn't work. So I'm just trying to make it a little easier for the next people trying to come up. Use this information, make a little bit of money, man. That's all I'm doing it for. If this is how I'm making my money, selling these t-shirts, making them this way, you guys could do the same exact thing as me. There's nothing different between me and you in this business. We are all we're using the same equipment, same blank t-shirts, same transfers, same everything. There's money out here for everybody. Do you make stickers? I do not make stickers. I do not. You could check out G6 Customs. They got a Mamaki printer. You could check out Boulevard Stickers. They make stickers. I don't know what machine they got. But yeah. Who's your favorite digitizer? I know you said that the front page of Google should tell you, but can you tell us a couple? I tried digitizing and I'm not sure it's been working out. There is no favorite digitizer I have. Not one digitizer where I'm like, I'm using this person every single time. Never, ever in my life have I done that. Every single job that I do through the embroidery process is I go to Google and I look up digitizing services. I could just type in DIG and it automatically populates digitizing services because I use it so much. I go based on what the job calls out for: price, turnaround time, detail and design, all of that stuff. There's not one company that does it all. You know what I mean? It's like one company might have a good price, but their turnaround time is like 3 weeks. One company might be really good at detail stuff, but they're super expensive. One company might be have a fast turnaround time, but they're super expensive. One company might be really good at just like monogram logos, but have a stupid turnaround time. So it all depends on what the job calls out for. Do I need it turned around fast? Is the design very complex? Is there a lot of different color changes in that design? Um, is the design calling out for like flat stitch, 3D puff, and using like metallic threads? Like all of that stuff is something I have to look on Google, and I look at like the digitizing services, and I look at their past work, what they've done, what they cost, what their turnaround time is like. All of that stuff is what goes into it. So there's not one company. Like I've used a lot of those companies multiple times, but I always use a different one because the job calls out for something different. If I don't need it turned around like right away, and I could wait a month for it to get turned around, but I'm only going to pay $10 or $6 for that design, then I'm going to look for that guy who's going to be the cheapest, and I don't care about turnaround time. If it's something very complex, like if it's like a motorcycle club's patch that they want stitched on the back of a Dickies jacket, I'm going to find the most complex digitizer I can find to digitize that design. So that way I know it's going to get accomplished correctly, because I don't want to cheap out and fuck it up and then put out a shitty product. So it's like if, customer comes and it's just like text on hat, very simple design, I'm going to find the person that can do it for the cheapest. You know what I mean? And if it's going to be somebody that needs it done tomorrow, then I'm going to look who has 12-hour turnarounds, 24-hour turnarounds, and I'll pay whatever it costs because the customer is going to end up paying it. So there's no like one digitizer that I'm like, all right, these ones are cool right here. Because all I do is just go, I don't even look at the names. I just click on each one and I look at what they offer. I'm like, yo, that turnaround time doesn't work for me. Let me go to the next one. All right, this one looks good, but let me see what the price is. All right, let me see what their past work looks like. And I just click through, click, click, click. That first page, I've used them all. I've used them all. Anyone on there. It just, I don't know what your job entails. So I can't tell you use this one and it's the one that has like the shitty turnaround time. Or that one it's made for complex designs and you have an easy, simple design. And then you're going to be paying $75 for your digitizing and be like, yo, why does he pay $75 for this cheap little design right here? It's just how every job is different when it comes to digitizing. I have to see it to realize it. Practical experience is the best teacher. I think so too, man. I learned through observation. That's just how I learn. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that, man. Daniel Ty, I think that's your name. My eyes are getting kind of messed up, so I'm probably messing up your name. I watch so many of your videos that your voice relaxes me now. I appreciate that. Thank you for all that, man. I should get into ASMR, man. You know what I mean? That's where the real money's at on social media. You gangster, bro. I appreciate all the insights and experience that you share with us. Makes me come back every week. That's dope as hell, man. It's dope to see you every week too, man. Tuning in is just half the battle, man. It's like utilizing the information that I share is like where it's really at. Starting a clothing line at the beginning of the year, and I made $1,200 on my first pop up. Fuck yeah, that's good as hell. I watched all your old DTF videos, and it was an excellent tool to develop a process for pressing shirts. Fuck yeah. One, $1,200 is dope as hell for your first pop up. That's really good money. Two, it's the information. Certain things change in the information from 10 years ago till now. Technology evolves a little bit, processes evolve a little bit, but the actual underlining message in every video is always the same. It's always going to be what works best for yourself. I'm showing what works best for me at the time that I'm recording these videos. And I'm actually thinking, all right, this is how this shit works. This is how it works for me. This is how I'm making money. I just made X amount of dollars. Let me make a video talking about how this worked for me to potentially help somebody else out there. If you look back at my videos 10 years ago, it the message is still the same. It's just like technology is the only thing that's different. Outside of that, it's the same exact thing. Control your own inventory with a heat press and transfers. Try to get your costs down on your blank goods and on your transfers. Increase your margins, increase your profits, and always pay attention to the customer. Know the customer as much as possible, and you can fucking kill in this game. Like, you really can take over your whatever you're doing, selling t-shirts, selling whatever you're selling. You can really take over the shit as long as you know the customer. If you continue to feed the customer exactly what they want, you never fail. Like, the customer will always buy into it if you understand them and you're giving them something that they want. It's like, I think about this like coffee shops. Coffee shops, me and the homies always talk about this. Coffee shops are recession proof. People will always pay for coffee. It doesn't matter what's going on in the world, people need their coffee. They could even buy all the coffee maker shit to do it at home. And if they have the opportunity, they're going to go out and buy coffee from somewhere else. It's just how it is. But at the same exact time, the coffee places know how to cater to their audience. They know what to offer. They know the flavors that they like. They know what people are going to come in to get. To me, this is why I think matcha works so good, is because matcha makes for good pictures. There might be people out there that don't even like matcha, but they're buying it because of the picture and the aesthetic of what it looks like of actually having it. Because even when it comes to coffee, if you're just drinking black coffee, like just straight black coffee, that makes for a horrible picture. Like, nobody wants to just look at a cup of black coffee. That's why latte art is a thing. Like, these places are catering to the people that go there. What's driving the people to go there is people posting, hey, look at this cool latte that I got with this fancy art on top. And they're putting it out to their friends and family. So people are like, yo, where's that coffee shop? I want to go there. It's just a latte. It's nothing different, but they're actually doing the promotion for them. So what they're doing is they're catering to their audience to a T. Like, coffee shops got it dialed in, man. Like, doesn't matter where you're at in the world, coffee is coffee. People are going to get it. People are going to take pictures of it. People always know, people have their favorite flavor of coffee or their favorite type of coffee, or this person makes it better or this place makes it better. But you're always going to try somewhere else. You're always going to keep thinking coffee every single day. It's something people drink every day. That's why it doesn't go out of business. It just works. And look at fucking Starbucks. There's millions of Starbucks out there. There's some that closed and there's some that still open up. But all they did was made it more convenient for people and making a drive-through Starbucks now. So now these small coffee shops can't afford a drive-through, but Starbucks and Dunkin' Donuts do it, so they can actually make it more convenient for the person to get it. I hate nerding out over this stuff, but this is stuff that I pay attention to, where I'm like, how is this place still in business? Oh, all they're doing is evolving. They're making their big coffee shops smaller with a drive through now to make it easier for people to get what they want. They're catering to their customer. So now, if the small coffee shops that's on the corner putting these big Starbucks out of business, Starbucks is shrinking and making it more convenient to still compete with the small coffee shops, right? Because now they're making it, oh, you don't even got to get out your car. You could get that same coffee over here. You're going to pay a premium because you could do a drive through, but you can do it in your pajamas. You don't got to get out the car. It's easy for you to do. Down the street from where my store's at, my store's on Western, in between Torrance Boulevard and Delamo Boulevard. On Torrance Boulevard and Western, there's a Starbucks there, tiny one. It's a drive through one. It's right by a gas station. Every morning, there's a line down the street of people waiting to get into that Starbucks drive-through just to get coffee. Line down the street. Blows my mind every single time I see it, but I'm just like, that's all they're doing, is they're just making it more convenient for the customer. It's paying attention to the customer. What do they want? Let me give them exactly what they want. If you do that for your customers, you win all day long. When you understand your customers, man, your business thrives like fucking crazy. That's all I do. I pay attention to my customers. I only offer them exactly what they want. Churro shit, I'm making churro shit all day long. Am I tired of selling that same churro shirt? Hell yeah, but it still makes money. So why would I stop? West Side shirt makes money all day long. Never going to stop selling it. I could just keep offering it in different colorways. People continue to buy it. I know my customers. I know what they want. I keep giving them exactly what they want. You know what I mean? I don't even know. I just went on that little rant right now, but it's when you pay attention to that kind of shit. Like I said, I nerd out over it, man, because it's interesting to me. Plus, there's no need for gatekeepers. There's plenty of money to go around. Hell yeah, there is. It's really all about your own idea and creativity that's determines if you sell, unless you're doing custom. That's exactly it. We all got the same 24 hours. We got the same machines. We have access to the same blanks, the same transfers, everything. Our own creativity is what helps drive us, but it's also our customer relationship. Bob Ross voice, hell yeah. Which website host do you like? I like Shopify. Shopify is known for being overrated, especially because of pricing. Now, when you think about it, it's like what you're paying for. I pay for convenience, right? I pay for the order comes in. I could buy my shipping label directly through them. It tracks my inventory. It handles taxes for me. It does everything for me. Processes the credit card transaction. All I have to do is upload the t-shirt that I want to sell, set the price. Shopify does everything else for me. Me, I pay for convenience. That to me is such a well-oiled machine. Shopify's dummy friendly too. Like I'm not good at computer stuff. Shopify makes it easy for myself, man. Instead of embroidering on real shirts and hats, what do you use to try new settings and designs? I only embroider on hats. I rarely embroider on shirts. I only do hats because that's what sells for myself. They're a lot harder to hoop than shirts. You could stitch on polo shirts all day long very easily, but hooping hats is a lot harder. But for me, that's what sells. How do you figure out how much time to spend on your business? I give myself 2 hours a day, every single day, minimum. Some days I do more. Some days I just do 2 hours. Some days I do 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour at night. Sometimes it's 2 hours at night. Sometimes it's 2 hours in the morning. I make sure I spend 2 hours every single day. I got a regular job still. I have a full time day job. Um, and I run the store, I run the shop, I do this YouTube shit. I give myself 2 hours every single day to work on the business, whether it's marketing, whether it's engaging with customers, whether it's doing product photos, whether it's working on designs, whether it's pressing shirts, fulfilling orders, 2 hours a day minimum. Would you say shirt printing embroidery is recession proof? No, it's not. With that said, do you think AI is a threat to the industry? AI is not a threat to the industry because AI can't physically make the shirts. AI could help with designing, but it's not going to physically make the shirt for you. So actual production still needs to be done by a person. You can automate it, right? You could have an automated screen print system, but you still have to load the shirt on. You have to take the shirt off. So it doesn't officially get rid of it, but it's not recession proof because to me, I think people buy clothes out of necessity and based on people's shopping habits. It's based on just how like I want to have like something fresh to wear, right? So that's why people go out and buy, or you buy stuff for gifts, or you buy stuff for, I'm going on vacation. I need a, I need to get a new shirt for I'm going to Vegas or something. You know what I mean? That's how people shop. But then when there's no money to go to Vegas, then you're not buying new clothes to go to Vegas, right? Especially like if there's somebody's birthday, instead of buying them a shirt, you might just give them a gift card. So there is limitations to printing shirts and stuff like that, but having a strong customer base, that helps you out tremendously. Did you start your online store with Shopify or a different company? No, I used Big Cartel. I used Intuit. I used, I don't know if it's called Wix. I know there's one called Wix, but I don't remember if that's the one I use. But Big Cartel was one of the ones I used to use a lot of. But the only thing I didn't like about Big Cartel was it was cheaper, but then they didn't have shipping wasn't integrated into the Big Cartel site. So if I'm paying $10 for a shipping service and then $10 for Big Cartel, and then I had to copy and paste the order from Big Cartel into the shipping site, or I could just pay $30 a month for everything integrated into Shopify. Made more sense to go with Shopify, so that's what I ended up doing. All right, y'all. If you guys don't got any more questions, I'm gonna get up out of here. They're like a little over 2 hours, man. That's dope as hell. Appreciate everybody for jumping on and watching and following along and asking questions. This was a dope ass live stream, man. Let me see. I'll give you guys a few more seconds if you guys populate any more questions. If not, thanks. Do you think starting a brand works anymore with the market being so saturated? The market will never be so saturated for another brand. Anybody that tells you it is saturated is a hater and they just don't want you to start it. Think about it. Everybody in the world owns t-shirts. Every single person in the world owns a t-shirt. I don't care if you wear a suit every day for work. You still have t-shirts that you go to the gym in, that you wear on the weekends. Everybody, women, men, kids, everybody has t-shirts. That's worldwide. Everybody. That's customers worldwide. If you really think about it, there's not enough brands that can fulfill all that. So starting a brand, probably the best thing you could do. I just started a brand and I'm struggling to get sales. Any pointers? Yeah, utilize social media. Utilize social media to tell your story. If you're not telling your story, you're doing yourself a disservice. You have to be able to tell your story of your brand through social media. Social media is going to be the driving force for everything that you do. Don't think of yourself as an influencer. Think of yourself as a content creator, somebody that's getting a chance to talk to the people about what you do. If you're not putting up at least 2 pieces of content every single day about your brand, that's probably why your sales are struggling. You need to be able to tell your story and really brag about what the hell you do, what your brand is all about. Imagine if you had access to Steve Jobs when he was thinking about making the iPhone, and how dope it would be just to like hear him talk about the concept of the iPhone and why he thought it was going to be dope, and him putting up 2 pieces of content every single day talking about why he thinks the iPhone is going to be the best fucking phone in the world. Think about that. Like, I'd tune into that shit just because I'd be interested. Like, yo, what the hell is this guy talking about? You have that same opportunity right now to be like, yo, this is the brand I'm starting. These are the t-shirt designs I'm doing. This is why I'm making these designs. This is what this brand means to me. This is the mission statement behind my brand. This is what I want my legacy to be. This is what I'm pouring every ounce of my body into to make it happen. If people can relate to the person behind the brand, that the people will support you before they support the brand. So let them support you, the business owner. Show them the struggles. Show them I'm not making any sales right now. Show them every single thing about your business, good and bad, to get people to relate to you, to buy into you, to support you, the business owner. That right there, if your designs aren't selling themselves, then the people have to buy into you to support the designs. If that makes any sense. Hope it does. I'm glad you asked that question and we ended on that note. Appreciate you guys. I do this every single Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Ask whatever questions you got about t-shirts and I'll try to answer them for you. All right. And if you want to rewatch this thing, it'll be on YouTube right after this. All right. Peace.